Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the greatest show on earth. I am Chris, aka MrCarrellScience. This guy right here is my good buddy,
Aaron, aka the Handy Outdoor Nerd.
And this gentleman down here is our friend.
Hi, I'm Bryan.
What's up, Bryan?
Me, and it's a late hour. It's midnight. I'm about to turn into a pumpkin, but I'm here with you guys.
Yeah.
Hello, Bryan.
Hi.
So today we've got quite a few fun things going on, I guess. Surprise guest, Bryan Vines, who is kind of my idol. I kind of want to be like him when I grow up. Parts of
What's wrong with you?
I said parts, Bryan. I said parts. So today's going to be a pretty fun show. We've got a lot of really fun stuff to talk about. Lots of really cool stuff happening in our community over this last week. And so I'm really excited to share a few things with you guys. I guess we can start off by talking about some cool prints. You guys got anything cool?
Yeah, so I sent something to Chris to put down in the description below for everyone who watches this stream live or the replay that you can print it. I finished modeling it earlier, and if you follow me on Twitter, well, social media pretty much, but Twitter I'm more active on right now. I've been dealing with my printers not working properly. My Kitty Tech is down. Actually, I was talking to Mr. Vines down there, and he gave me the idea that my motherboard was probably fried for my thermistor. And Tim from TH3D confirmed the theory of, yeah, that looks like it's probably fried a portion of it. And if I get just a second to...
You want me to put it up here?
Yeah, give me a moment to try to get the actual...
Hey, Bryan, can you do me a favor?
Yes.
Can you get me some links to your Twitter and YouTube and put them in the private chat, and then I'll put them in the video description?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Alrighty.
Ready, Aaron?
Yep. So this is my Twitter. And so this is, I put Tom, but it's Tim. And Twitter doesn't allow you to edit stuff after you post it. You have to delete it and repost it.
Yes, that's how you edit on Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter, please fix that, because that gets really annoying when I have to delete something because my phone changes it. All right, so the problem I'm having is this is my thermistor. This is my Kitty Tech main board, motherboard. And as everyone in the 3D printing community who has been printing for a little while knows, this right here is wrong and not possible, because it's reading 1023 degrees that it's saying that it's already at. But it's
anything's possible if you believe hard enough, Aaron.
That it's set to 0 degrees.
Yes, it has exactly 1K steps, 1024 steps, from 0 to 1023. And something is wrong with it, so it's reading the maximum value.
Yep.
Even though it's set to the minimum value.
So I was troubleshooting with Bryan. I was like, Bryan, I've been racking my brain. I've done other thermistors. Do you know anything that could be wrong with it? He says, yeah, your motherboard's probably fried. And
well, first we did a couple of things like swapping the thermistors between the bed and the hot end.
Yeah, so there's this thermistor here for the hot end, And right up here is actually the thermistor right here. These two, the yellow and white, is for the hot end, for the bed. And swapped them. I even swapped the cables around, which anyone knows in 3D printing, the polarity does not matter for your thermistor. But I wanted to check anyways, just in case it was a weird coincidence. No, because no matter what I did, it wouldn't do it. So I put 3 or 4 different thermistors on it, checking it out. That didn't
you
work.
should have tried 3 or 4 at the same time.
So Tim actually replied, and he had said, check it for any signs of like a melting on the top of the die pack. And I was like, okay. Let's see. And so this is the thermistor right there. If you look at C76 compared to 75.
Let me go full screen so I can see that better.
See, it's definitely a different color. So Tim has yet to reply to me on that part. But I want to say that might be the portion that's fried. I'm hoping. And I can replace it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there's all these other ones, and these just have the same color as all the other ones here.
Slightly darker capacitor.
Yeah. So that's my thought.
But usually capacitors like that are just little filter capacitors.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm not an expert on that. But so that's kind of a long explanation of the things that I'm dealing with my printers right now. Where's my? I'm going to stop sharing that, and then I'm going to share this. When you are ready to pop that up. All right, so I went and modeled this. I didn't come up with this. There was an actual sketch. See, I got it kind of closed off. But someone had taken a picture of this. It was all metal. So I was like, oh, my wife would totally love that for Valentine's. So I went through and just traced. So I did the circles, and then I traced the entire outline. And then I had to just select my text. Excuse me. And so it would actually work properly. I had to create a connection from the ones that wouldn't have that. So the P's, the O's, and the D's, and the 9 all got a connection.
Anything with a closed loop needed a connection. Otherwise, the little center part would have fallen out.
Yep. So this has got a little connector there. They're all connected here, like the 2 cats, like the head and the little lower part on the body. This is connected here. So all these kind of loop around. So they all have a closed connection. So nothing.
It's like everything in our world. Everything is connected.
So like little stencils, like whenever you go to like trace them, the stencils that you lay on paper or whatever, those all have a connection. No matter what you do, that's how they work. So that's how this is going to work. So just prints out like that. And that is actually in the description link below. So you guys can have at it and print it.
Thank you.
As I said, wasn't my design. I wanted to print something out for my wife. I printed the Turncoats teddy bear last year for her. And I couldn't do it this year because my printers are not working. So I was like, I wanted to model something, get it going, and that's what I did. So there. So for me to all of you guys, enjoy it.
Happy Valentine's Day.
I feel the love, man.
You should, because I know how much you love cats.
Yes, they are my absolute least favorite animal of all time, I think. Not a huge fan of cats. I mean, got nothing against people who like cats, but if you try and sell me on, your death animals, I probably will.
So
My wife's been trying to get me to get her a cat for years and years and years.
hey, you can just print that for her and be like, see there, this I got you 2 cats.
I got you 2 cats. This is the closest you're gonna get.
Plastic cats.
I'll print it out for her and I'll say, I'm that way. All right, I have a couple of things for cool prints. Let's see if I can give you this. There it is. So for cool prints, last week on the AC show, I had mentioned by Zerui that there's a filament company called Zerui. They make a marble PLA, and it's actually pretty sweet. I got it as a sample in my Alien 3D UFO subscription box, and when I saw it, I just had to print the dragon model by Karn, because
I love TK's dragon.
I think it's the best. It's so cool, and I just thought it looks so cool in the marble because it would make it look just like a stone statue. And I was absolutely right. I love it. I love this dragon. It's pretty sweet. So I had promised Zerui that I was going to show off the dragon in the stream last week, and I couldn't find it. I don't know what I did with it. I was looking, couldn't find it. And then I had set it aside with all the rest of the stuff for the AC show that I totally forgot last week. So you know how you put something in a specific spot and you don't remember that you put it there?
I put it in a safe place so it wouldn't get lost, and then I didn't remember where I put it.
That is exactly what happened last week. So here's the dragon that I promised to show off to Zerui, and maybe I'll check and see if he's still doing a promotion. He had a promotion last week, 5% off from his Amazon store, any of the Zerui products. And the really cool thing was he told me that they just recently released a glow-in-the-dark Pet G. And so the glow-in-the-dark Pet G just came out. It's pretty sweet. And I think if they're still running the promotion, I'll put the link down in the description. Just so.
Eddie, it's because you parked it in my house, Eddie. That's why you can't find your car.
Hi, Eddie.
Dude, where's my car?
Come get it.
I don't know, dude. Where's your car?
So yeah, I like that dragon that TK did. I've got it printed out in copper, copper silk, and it's like super shiny. My daughter calls it the dragon with abs.
The dragon with abs.
Look at it. He's got abs.
You're lying. Look at that.
So Bryan, I know you've got a cool print. Yeah, I saw it on Twitter.
I'm making these for my daughter's classmates, so she can give these out tomorrow. Just a little heart that I did in Tinkercad and stuck some names on them. So like, here's one. And I just do a filament swap at a certain height and get a nice little 2-color print.
And for those of you who don't know what a filament swap is, it's the poor man, cheap man's way of having multi-colored material.
Multi-material printing, yes.
Yeah.
So what you do is you just have it pause the print, or you pause it yourself, and then you swap it out. That's really all you do.
You pull out the one color, you load in the next color, you kind of purge it a little bit, and resume the print, and off it goes.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I've used that technique to do a few things. Last year, I made some little medals that I handed out at school, like as prizes at the end of the school year. We had like an awards assembly, and I 3D printed some little metals. I did the same way. I did like a green background, and I did a filament swap, so it had all the letters were black on top. So it's pretty cool.
Cool.
School colors. So, yeah.
Hello, Michael Cassell.
What's going on, Michael?
Yes,
You're
I am
burning-
burning midnight oil. I'm printing some more of these little hearts for my kids' class. I've got another set on the printer, and I have to wait until it gets to the part where I swap filament, and I'm still on the first layer. And I got to get 2 millimeters up before I can swap. So I'm going to either set an alarm or I'm going to stay up for a while.
Yeah. That's the way it goes, unless you have, you know, a Prusa, the Prusa multi-material, or the,
I have one
palette.
I have a Prusa MM2, and it's still in the box, unassembled.
Oh, come on, Brian.
Just send it to me, Brian. Just send it to me.
Brian, where do you live? You closer to me or Aaron?
I don't know. I'm in Texas. Y'all tell me.
Ooh, Texas could go.
You're how far away from Eddie? Like an hour or two from Eddie?
No, I'm more like 7 hours away. No, Eddie's in Houston. I'm probably about 4 hours away from him.
Are you? Which direction are you?
I am south of Eddie.
Okay.
Actually, I'm like south and west of Eddie. Eddie is, if you look on a map, Eddie is up and to the right.
Okay, so I mean, I might be closer because Missouri. I'm about 10 hours from Eddie.
We should all go visit you because Missouri loves company.
Oh yes, it does.
And
I could totally use the help to fix my printers. Apparently.
That is the Bryan Vines that I know and love right there. This is why we have you on the show, Brian, for moments like that.
Hey, Brian, why did the superhero flush the toilet?
Tell me, why did the superhero flush the toilet?
Because it was his duty. I got my wife laughing at that one, and I shook my head at her. I was just like, oh, babe, that's for kids. Well, you're not supposed to laugh at that. You're supposed to go like,
yes, you sigh, you tilt the head back, you roll the eyes.
That's what I was expecting. And that's not what I got. So I got a laugh.
What you do is you smile and nod, Aaron. Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
So have you watched Picard yet, Brian?
I have not.
I have not either. But have you seen all the stuff going around on the interweb about?
Well, I've seen them having a meal magically appear inside of a 3D printer.
Yeah, the duplicator. The duplicator.
Wow.
That's not food safe.
Food safe plastic is this, boys.
So I've seen people say it's a Dremel. I've seen people say it's a Flash Forge. But
I guess the answer is yes.
I mean, it's a Core XY printer.
It looks like a larger version of the Dremel, like what is it, Idea Maker or whatever it is that is in the library at my kid's school.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't think that they bought those printers as props for the set. I think that they had those printers that they used to make stuff for the set, and they just like
set them on there.
Yeah, they just set them on there.
They're like, well, what are we gonna do for making this prop of duplicators? And like, we got 3D printers. Let's just put them there, and there we go.
We need something. We're gonna call it the duplicator.
Dupli replicator.
Yeah. And
I
which it's so funny because you got the rails and everything. It's like you didn't really need to do that. I mean, you could have obviously
just gotten a box with a door, like a microwave.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, do what they did on the original Star Trek stuff.
Oh, you just have a square opening and a little door that lifts up, and then someone that was on the other side of the set put the bowl of chicken soup there.
There you go.
I mean, that's all you got to do. But no, let's have a printer with a bed that goes up and down that just sets in one spot, and poof, there is your tray.
And the screen was off too, so it wasn't even turned on.
So I got one more cool print, and that is a while back I was at a Goodwill, and while I was at this Goodwill, I always go and look at the golf clubs. I'm not a good golfer by any stretch of the imagination, but I always
So you always get high score when you play?
let me tell you, I'm a winner. Okay, I'm a winner. So I'm not a very good golfer. So I went to this Goodwill, and I always go and look at the golf clubs just because it's just a hobby of mine. I'm not good at it, but I like to go do it. So I go look at the golf clubs, and I find these bad boys, which are itty.
Hold on a second now. The first rule of golf club is you don't talk about golf club.
Oh yeah, Brian, I saw that coming from a mile away. So I found these golf clubs that are the perfect size for my 6-year-old. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna buy these golf clubs. I'm gonna take my son out golfing with me. And I was sitting there thinking, man, I really wish that I had a golf bag for my son to use while we go golfing. And so I thought about it, and I said, you know what, I bet I could make one. I bet I could make a golf bag. And so I got a paint can, a quart-sized paint can, and I got some canvas, and I basically just like sewed a tube out of canvas, and then I slid it over the top of the paint can, and I put this 3D printed part over the top of it. It's got a part that goes on top, and then it's got another part. I cut the bottom out of the paint can. There's another part that goes up inside and screws it together so it holds the canvas in place. And then I cut a strap off of an old backpack that we weren't using anymore, that we were going to just throw away, and I sewed it onto the edge, and then it's even got a little pocket for him to put his golf bags in. And so I made a little golf bag for my son to go golfing with me, and his little golf clubs, because there's only 2 of them, so it's perfect. They just slide right in. There's my son's little golf bag.
It's got a nice place where you can install your driver.
Exactly. The stepper driver or the driving glove?
It's good to see you just putter around there for a day or so. I'm sure it suits you to a T. Clearly, you're having a ball.
That was a hole-in-one.
I got nothing. I was so tired. You ever watch The Office?
No.
And you've never seen? Oh, are you kidding me, Brian? You've never seen The Office?
No.
Very first episode of The Office, the pilot. The guy puts the other guy's stapler into some Jello, and so he makes a thing of Jello, puts it in there, and then he flips it over and leaves it in the guy's desk. So there's this perfect like bundt cake style Jello mold with a stapler right in the middle. And so the guy opens up the drawer and pulls it out, and he goes, "Michael!" And he stands up and he pulls out this thing. "He put my stuff in Jello again." And they start making all of these food puns, making fun of him, and they're like, "It looks like you're his biggest flan," and all kinds of these like Jello-related puns. And he's like, "Are you gonna do something about this or not?" And the boss just sits there and he just goes, "Put it in. He's trying to figure out another pun and he can't think of one. So just and so for me, like, you're making all these puns, and I'm sitting there going, irons, driver, sandwich. Oh. All right.
You could have said, "I'll have something for you after I enjoy a nice sandwich."
Mm-hmm. I'm never gonna dig my way out of that bunker, though.
I'm stuck in the rough.
Yeah. Oh boy. Oh boy. All right. Let's see here. What else do we have today? We have a quick story from All 3DP. Let me just share my screen really quick. That's what I did wrong. I was like, I'm not sharing the right screen, but I was sharing the right screen. Got it. Sorry. Okay, so we had talked about this a little bit on the stream last week. We were talking about how researchers are turning cooking oil from McDonald's into 3D printing resin. Brian, this is a family show here, man.
It's my kitty cat.
So we're talking about how this is a family show, Brian. So we're talking about how basically they're able to take cooking oil and transform it into a resin, and that's so cool to me because you know that's how you make plastics anyways. It's a byproduct from oil, and so being able to take old cooking oil and transform it into a plastic that's actually usable in a 3D printing scenario, I think, you know, any way that we can reuse plastic and keep away from doing single-use plastic and have it be, you know, multi-purpose. Maybe that's awesome. Myself.
So, serious question though: you can run a diesel engine off of used cooking oil?
Yep.
Well, what would be the better use for it? Making it into plastic, or running a vehicle on it?
Well, you know, personally, when you think about how diesel fuel is made, right? Because what you're referring to would be like biodiesel. It has to go through a chemical process before it's usable. You can't just dump cooking oil into an engine and expect it to run, right? So the process that we're talking about is like when you turn crude oil into gasoline, diesel is a byproduct of that. And there are, you know, various different oils that are byproducts of turning crude oil into gasoline. And we've come up with ways of using those byproducts to do other things. In this case, I think what we're talking about is during that process of turning oil into a biofuel, what are the byproducts left over, and can we use those to create plastics and resins and things?
Yeah. But I'm sure that the oil that they put into their diesel vehicles, all they have to do is buy a little conversion kit, and then they can just run straight oil.
It's got to filter out the French fries and stuff.
Oh yeah,
because those will clog your injectors.
Oh, definitely.
So get a part of a McNugget stuck in your glow plug.
It makes me hungry.
Listen, if it's good enough for my arteries, it's good enough for my engine. So what it looks like, it says here, is it's a natural product because they're using the fats from they're not just using the cooking oil itself, they're using the fats from the cooking oil. And so they're saying it's easier to biodegrade, which is a very different thing from the resin that we usually would use in resin printers that are not very easily biodegradable. And so
I think it's interesting that they're using it to make a resin as opposed to a plastic. Yeah.
Yeah. Me too. Which, I mean, I guess if you think about it, what really is the difference between a resin and a plastic, right?
One of them is liquid and it only becomes solid when you expose it to UV light.
Well, yeah.
The other one is solid and it stays solid until you heat it up.
But once you expose it to UV light, if you were to heat it up, what would happen?
I don't know.
That's good.
I don't have a resin printer.
I don't either. Because I'm willing to bet
Welcome to FDM Club.
FDM Club. I'm willing to bet that we probably could figure something like that out. Gasoline used to be a byproduct of making kerosene. Now it's the other way around.
You know, that other kind of printer really resonates with a certain population.
Oh boy.
Oh.
What do you mean, really, Eddie?
Everything. He's really eating everything.
Yeah.
We're Eddie Get Eddie in here.
Yeah, we need to.
Eddie, can you be family friendly?
He is family friendly. He's got kids. What are you talking about?
I know lots of people that have kids aren't family friendly, but
last time when I hung out with Eddie last year, just after Christmas, he said that he needs to get his computer camera set up and everything. His OCD just went out like this. Whenever you're ready, Eddie, you're more than welcome.
So Eddie's saying it was about surprise behind the shock of a liquid being used in a liquid printer. I mean, technically, FDM
water's a
printers
liquid, but
FDM printers are liquid printers too, right? Because it melts the plastic, it becomes a molten plastic. So technically, it's liquid, even if it's only momentarily while it's printing it. Is liquid.
But at what point would it be a liquid, though? Because technically, it's not a liquid. Because do you consider lava a liquid?
Yes.
it's more of a gel.
And see, that's
there's two.
And that's
types
why
of
you
solids.
can't take lava on a plane, because you can't get a gel past TSA.
I just want some of the lava. Yeah. you know, because there's basically multiple types of solid, right? So you have a crystalline solid, and then you have an amorphous solid. So a crystalline solid is something that has very sturdy crystallized structures inside of it. And if you looked at it under a magnifying glass that were strong enough to where you could actually see the structures of the compounds that create it, it would be a very regular shape, like polygon shape. Whereas an amorphous solid is one that doesn't have an actual shape like that. Something like glass is an amorphous solid. So people actually don't realize this, but glass is actually a pseudo-solid. You could consider glass to be a liquid. If you go to like a really, really old building, it's like hundreds of years old, that has the original glass panes, if you measured the thickness of it with some calipers, you could tell that the bottom of the glass is actually thicker than the top of the glass, because the glass will actually slowly pour down. And so over the course of hundreds of years, if you buried yourself with the glass holding like right above your face, you could technically pour yourself a glass of glass. That's like my dream. My wife laughs at me. I just tell her, when you bury me, I just want a glass just up towards my mouth, so that eventually I'd get a glass of glass. And she just thinks I'm completely.
Whatever happened to carbonite? You're clearly going solo on this one.
Let's not talk about that movie, man. That was a train wreck. Are you solo? Yes, I am. Oh, knock it off. This is boring.
Previously on Awkward Silences.
Not the most awkward I've had all day. Tell you what. Okay. So a couple of things that I wanted to show off. So Aaron and I have kind of taken some turns tagging some things on Twitter, and hopefully, if you guys are fans of the show and you also happen to be on Twitter or even Facebook, we're gonna try and start it up. I'm on Facebook, but I just don't use my Facebook very often, so I'm less familiar with what's happening on there. I'm less familiar with what's going on Facebook, but on Twitter we've been tagging stuff with the hashtag #A_C show, and using that hashtag you're able to tag stuff, and if we see some cool stuff on there, then we will feature it in our stream. So for example, what I did was I went to Twitter, I did a search for #AC show, and I'm going to put it up on the screen right now so you guys can see. These are some of the things that we've tagged since we started. So for example, one of the things that we tagged was this really cool toilet paper dispenser.
The quick reload holster.
Right. Quick. This would not last 3 seconds in my 6-year-old's bathroom, but I appreciate the sentiment. Yeah, so it looks like Michael and Eddie both are trying to avoid Facebook. So yeah, I mean, you guys know what it's like. I was getting so many stinking notifications every day from people I don't even know. It's like, you haven't spoken with this person in 7 years. Would you like to talk to them now? Why would I?
Why?
Yeah. I mean,
Why
it's
would I?
not that I don't like them.
Why I don't speak to that person?
Yeah. Let's see here. Ooh, so another cool thing is this week Printed Block came out, and I don't know for 100% back, but I'm pretty sure that all three of us guys are all backers of this Printed Block Kickstarter.
I will be backing it as of here shortly.
I will be backing it soon. I was a backer of the low poly dinos.
Yeah, I've done the low poly dinos and the chibi moles, and now we're doing the next the Printed Block, because actually something really cool is Mr. Larson, 3D printing professor, he has lowered the rate. So to get everything, all of the models, this time it's only $10, whereas in the past it's been $25. So super cool. If you guys have not seen the printer blocks, they are amazing. I've got a couple of examples of little mechs that I built here that are really, really cool. If you guys get the opportunity to back him, I'll make sure that I get the link put in the description.
Yeah, and if I remember right, he's got 3 different tiers. The first one is the $10. You just get the printer blocks. The second one is, I don't remember how much. Is it like $20 or $30?
I mean, I know that he has a couple of tiers, but I think he just has the $10 tier, and then I think it jumps up to like $100. And if you know what it is? I think it's like $30 tier, but you get the printed blocks and you get the low poly dinos. And then if you do $100, you get everything, plus you get to be a part of creating your own custom printed block work.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. Yeah, so the printer blocks are a really cool thing, and I'll try and get a link in the description for that. It might take me a few minutes because we're doing this right now, but in just a few minutes I'll get a link put in the description if you guys are interested in that. Be pretty sweet. Let's see what else we got. Oh, okay. So Aaron, you want to talk about this one?
All right. So most everyone who watches us watches Joe Telling, aka the 3D Printing Nerds channel. He actually had this featured on his channel before, and which I recognize it. They took, and I want to say it's got carbon fiber fill for part of it, but look how thin that is. It's almost like, are you ready for it? The Snitch's wings. That's what made that. Yeah.
I am a huge Harry Potter nerd. If you guys don't know, like, Harry Potter's kind of my jam. So
look at that. I mean, look how it just kind of flexes, and look at the sparkle. I mean, it looks really cool, and it reminds me of the Snitch's wings. But that printer is like, it was five print heads on it. You can have it where it does CNC on spots too, so you can have it rotate and do.
Oh, that's right. So you can print something, and then you can go back and clear it out with a CNC. If for some reason 3D printing that particular piece was difficult in a specific angle or something like that.
Well, you can do additive and subtractive manufacturing with this one printer, which is really cool, and it's got that longer print bed, and we can all see the big huge Kapton tape right there.
Yeah.
And so it will allow you, so you can have your filament loaded up in your different nozzles. So you can have your nozzle for abrasive filament, like glow in the dark, carbon fiber fill. So if that's carbon fiber fill there for the little honeycomb shapes there, then you can have like a flexible filament for the other part. And then that way you have it where it's flexible, but it's got some stiff rigidity to keep it from breaking as much. So you can have multiple different ones on there, and you can have it go and print either multiple colors or different materials that just need different temperatures to print. And then you can also subtract from that to give it kind of a better finish. So, or you can have it just print a piece of plastic down there and then have it subtract from that to make the part that you need.
So I thought this was pretty cool. This is pretty interesting. So this guy, he was a beta tester for the printed blocks.
Yeah.
And one of the things that he did was he actually printed some of his blocks with a resin, and he's combining the resin and FDM parts together. And so it was one of the interesting things is that 3D printing professor's design, his model really works on a little bit of flexibility in the pieces. And if the pieces don't have any flexibility, if they're too rigid, they don't work very well. And so he tried a couple of redesigns to make sure that they would have that slight flexibility to be able to snap together because they work with a zero tolerance system. In fact, this is an example of what they look like printed at 200% size. And when I printed these at 200% size, the issue that I've had with it is that once you get these bricks together, you can't get them apart because they don't have enough flexibility. The parts are too rigid. And so he redesigned it to be able to print at a much higher at a higher percentage. For example, this would be like the Mega Bloks version of my Lego pieces, right? I've got a 2-year-old as well. He's a lot less likely to swallow something that's this size than he is to swallow something that's,
and he's also revised the blocks themselves, so now they've got a hole through each way. So in case a kid ingests them, they can still breathe.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of like they have the hole in the middle of the pen cap, so that if you swallow it while chewing on your pen, you can still breathe. So super cool redesigns. But as you can see, it actually works with resin printing as well. You can do the printer blocks on any type of printer, not necessarily solely FDM 3D printing. So I think that's really sweet. Let's see here. Ooh, I thought this was really interesting. So if you guys have seen Lego Masters, which is the new show that's been on Wednesday nights, it's really, really cool. So this is, I guess, an acquaintance. I don't really know her that well, but I've seen her and I follow her on Twitter so often. But she actually made a custom 3D printed dress that she wore on the first episode of Lego Masters. And so she made a video where she actually talked about how she made these different things. And I remember when she was going through the process of making this 3D printed on the fabric, because I actually helped her when she was trying to figure out, she had duplicated a bunch of models, but they were stuck as meshes, and she was having a hard time getting them to convert from a mesh to a B-rep in Fusion 360 to be able to actually print them. And so I feel like I was on Lego Masters, basically, is what I'm saying. I mean, basically, I did it for her. You know what I mean? So essentially, I did everything. I was on the show. I mean, I pretty much.
You got the golden brick.
I mean, I made the golden brick first of all. Then I got it. I taught her everything
I've
she
been
knows.
watching that with my daughter. We watch it on Thursdays because that's when it rolls around to Hulu. And it's like my daughter giggles every time they show that golden brick on the screen because they hold it just so it catches the light, and it's kind of got that sound.
It doesn't catch the light. You know, they add that post. They're just like they hold it up and they're like, ding, you know. Yeah, exactly.
She giggles every time.
But I think this is really cool. 3D printing on fabric is not something that's like a new idea by any means, but 3D printing on fabric is something that's really cool, and to see it featured on a show like Lego Masters, I think that's pretty awesome. So yeah, that's really sweet. And then let's see if there's anything else that I want to throw in here. I think this is an old one. Yeah, so we showed this last week, but basically creating custom voids in 3D printed models so that you can fill them with a different colored resin. You can have like writing and stuff. This is another way that I guess you could do a multicolor resin print. That's been a big topic of discussion on for a lot of 3D printers, is how can you do, since now we have the ability to, with the MMU upgrades, with the palette and things like that, we can do multicolored FDM 3D printing, but how do you do multicolored resin 3D printing? So a lot of people have been doing full-on 3D prints where they just add alcohol dyes afterwards, before they process it, things like that. But in this scenario, he leaves voids that you can use a small syringe to inject a different colored resin into your print, and then you cure it all at once. So you can end up with a multicolored resin, which I think is pretty sweet. Yeah, so if you guys see anything really awesome that has to do with 3D printing, or even slightly off 3D printing, that's fine. If you tag it with the AC show, we will try and get that, and I'll make sure I'll type it into the description so you guys can see how it's spelled.
Yeah, there's an underscore in there somewhere.
Yeah, it's A_C show, because
we don't know. No one knows where because it's hidden.
there is a there's another show that it's some talk show, I think, on the East Coast. There's some guy that his initials are AC, and so AC show is a hashtag that's used for his talk show, and so it won't show up for us if you guys type in regular just AC show. But if you do the A_C show, then we'll look them up and we'll maybe feature them on the stream maybe next week or the week after. So anything you guys see that's awesome, go ahead and tag it with the hashtag AC show, and hopefully we'll have your cool prints shown on our show. So pretty cool.
You want to pop that file I shared up on your screen there, Chris?
I can do that. Yes, this one.
Yep. So yeah, so I sent it to Chris. He will have that in the description below.
I don't understand what you mean by that, Eddie. Although Brian gets covered up every single time. We have this discussion a lot. You know, like for Monsters Inc.
Yeah.
When, he's like,
I'm on the cover of a magazine.
I'm on a magazine cover. Yeah. I'm on the AC show. There's me right there.
So anybody,
you gotta screenshot that, Brian, and you need to post that image on Twitter of you just like
with this.
You'd be like,
I'm on the AC show.
Yeah. Oh, he said because I said tag things that are awesome. Absolutely, Eddie. You can tag yourself. I mean, my wife hates when I say it like this, but I mean, technically you were 3D printed, right? I mean, I got a 6-month-old, and while that baby was baking, I'm telling my wife, you are a 3D printer right now. But she wouldn't come on the show. I don't know. She just didn't want that. Too much fame, I guess. But yeah, for sure. The link to this, there is a link to this in the video description right now. So if you guys wanted to print this yourself, oh geez, I'm not gonna pop that comment up, Eddie. So if you guys want to print this for Valentine's Day for your significant other, I'm gonna leave there's a link already in the description right now. So if you're watching live, you're welcome to download it.
So it is free for everyone to just print. So
I might print this for my wife because I'm not going to say that I don't have anything for her, but we're kind of saving our money for a vacation. We're wanting to go. We decided finally we're going to go to Seattle, and we're going to go spend some time with a few people. I invited Joel Telling.
I gave him crap about it.
I invited Joel Telling to go out to eat dinner with us.
That's the only reason he's going to Seattle. He just wants to meet Joel.
And he respectfully ignored my comment, so that's cool. And right. Anyways,
maybe if you were to meet him at Earth or something and actually become real friends and not just internet friends,
I would have to actually go to Earth, which I live in Arizona.
Or Murph.
No, what we need is the real, what was it? The CW.
The Arizona Rep Festival, the ARF.
We were going to do ARF.
ARF.
Eddie, I'm going to be in Seattle. It's going to be sometime in, let's see, what June. It's going to be a while. It's going to be June, around June 23rd, I think, is when we're leaving. We're going to Seattle for our 10-year anniversary. We were married in October, but because I'm a school teacher, it's easier for me to get time off during the summertime. So
Yep.
we're going to go celebrate our 10-year anniversary in Seattle. I think it's going to be like June 23rd. We're going to be gone for about a week. So
yeah, remind him, and he will meet you for dinner.
nice. I will let you know. I didn't think you were anywhere close to Seattle, but
He goes to Seattle now and again, and as Eddie and I talked about this stuff whenever we hung out last time, which was awesome. I totally want to hang out with you again, Eddie. Come up to Springfield. We'll totally, go to Bass Pro and do all that fun stuff. But so he goes there now and again for work stuff.
nice. Well, Eddie, I tell you, if you're there, I'll get you one of those famous strawberry milkshakes from wherever it was you guys said was awesome.
So, but yeah, so funny thing with him talking about his 10-year, this year's my 10-year also. Yeah, I know. It will be the end of May is my 10-year, and we are actually going, not on our anniversary, but we are going to go out, and I will be able to see this handsome fellow.
Yeah, he's coming to Arizona for his 10-year. And you know what? Listen, you guys can give Arizona all the crap that you want to, but I'm telling you right now, there is no better state than Arizona. It's the best. It's the best one. It's the prettiest. We've got enough pollution to make the sunsets pretty. but we got enough open space where you don't have to smell it all the time. So it's pretty.
Well, I'm glad that both of you have gotten some tenured positions.
So,
Thanks.
so yeah.
I'm just waiting for the day.
Finally making my 10-year.
I'm waiting for the day that my wife realizes that she's too good for me, and so far it hasn't happened. So I'm just crossing my fingers, crossing my fingers she doesn't find that out. So.
Oh, it's funny. My wife always goes, "You hid your nerdiness from me." I was like, "No, it."
My nerdiness couldn't be hid, man. It was just on display, billboard across my extending forehead.
So, Bryan looks up to us.
I do. I have no choice.
I don't mean to look down on you, Bryan.
Huh? Oh, yeah.
I don't mean to look down on you. Yeah. Here's a story of a man named Bryan. Hey, Aaron,
He had a printer over there, and it was printing.
Oh, yeah. I hear a squeak every once in a while.
Yeah,
That's Bryan.
I squeak.
Aaron, there was one more story I think that you had pulled up earlier. You know what
Was it the story of a lovely lady?
The story of a man named Aaron. Why does everyone who comes on the show wear glasses and have a beard?
Because that makes you cool. That's why.
We have headphones and we've got beards. Kinda, sorta.
I mean, I had a beard last week, but I had to shave it off. I don't try to grow a beard. I'm just too lazy to shave. That's my deal. I'm not like, oh man, I'm gonna grow my beard out. I'm just like, ugh, it's late. I want to shave and go to bed. Or I woke up. I gotta leave in 10 minutes. I'm out of here.
That's why this is scruffy down here. I've been lazy and not had time.
How dare you?
I know it.
I mean, how dare you? Do you know what story I'm talking about, Aaron?
You can remind me.
I don't remember what it was. I'm trying to remind you by telling you it's a story of both man and bear. You had a story pulled up before we started the show, and it was a new story. I think it was from All3DP, and I just kind of glanced at it and thought it was cool, and I was looking on All3DP to try and find that story. I couldn't find it. So
let me. It may have been all about the topic Blender.
I don't think so.
Because
I'm not interested in Blender because I don't know how to use it. Although, I guess maybe I am interested because I'd like to learn how it works. I'm not very good at 3D modeling. In case you guys haven't noticed, do we need a reminder? Hashtag take on.
Oh, there was a story if I can find it.
Let's see
that.
I have a furry headrest.
This is when you ask me to model something that looks like Aaron. This is what you end up with.
It's missing the G on the end.
Pudding. If you can't find it, Aaron, it's not a big deal. I was just curious.
No, I found it.
I mean, you say that, but it's been like 7 minutes and waiting for you to find it. You have a touch screen up here for you to show it, so. Oh, there it is.
Now, I don't know about you, but I don't think it can be recycled to print.
You don't think that plastics can be recycled to print?
It's a joke. I'm saying that as a joke. Because in it, it was saying like, can 3D printed material, plastic, be recycled and printed on a 3D printer? Yes, yes it can. People do it all the time.
On that kind of printer?
Well, that's not a printer.
No, go down.
That's the DIY filament thing.
That's just an ad.
That's the wrong kind of printer.
That's the wrong kind of printer for that recycled plastic.
Yep.
That's salt. Do they also have batteries? There's
magnets.
So, I mean, most people in the 3D printing community knows you can. Joe Telling has done this. Excuse me. He's got a little filament maker. But can it be done? Well, yes, it can. See, so you've got.
Can it be done well?
If there is.
I mean, it can, but if you think about it, I mean, if you're able to make plastics that are able to be 3D printed, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to recycle those same plastics. If you cut them up random through one of the professional grade extruders that makes 3D printed filament, I imagine that you'd get much more spectacular results. But it's unfortunate that we don't have a desktop version.
Well, this is desktop.
It's great to have you. Thanks for stopping in. We will see you later.
Later, Eddie.
Bye, Eddie.
So you've got your extruder motor right here that drives not really a gear. It's pretty much a big drill bit that just feeds it through. So see, they got a hot bottle as your hopper. So here's your hot end. Heats it up, it extrudes it out. What you do is you feed your filament down, and then you've got to wrap it around. So that they've got all these fans doing this. Now, whenever you make filament, again, Joel Tilling's done videos on this and a bunch of other people, but Joel Tilling's definitely one I can remember on doing it, is it's fed through water to cool it down. as it gets stretched through. So there is exposure to water to it, which look on his YouTube channel, you'll be able to find they talk about it more in depth. So instead of cooling it down with fans, you got that water to help cool it down, but they've also got lasers checking it and making sure that its dimensions is right, so then it can slow or speed up the speed to get within that tolerance that it needs.
You got to use the pew-pews.
But see, so they've got it going like this through here, got the fans, and then they've got this right here. This goes back and forth to wind it evenly on it. So it just moves it back and forth as this spins. So there's your control box.
You know, the problem that I have with all these videos of people making recycled 3D filament is you don't often see them using actual recycled plastic or failed 3D prints or whatever. They always use the raw PLA pellets when they're doing it. And so it's really frustrating to me seeing them use the raw pellets and say that they're making recycled plastic.
Okay, so
I don't know. If you've ever watched some of the Philobot streams where they would like take old keyboards and grind them up and then extrude them and then print something with them, that was kind of cool.
Yeah, and there's another guy. I'll have to try to find the stuff.
You know what?
But
there's another guy right there.
He actually, and he's got stuff where he actually forms stuff. So he's got like a 1 millimeter nozzle, pretty much, or 6 millimeters. It varies on it, but he just injection molds everything. Pretty much, he'll form mold, but then he'll have it to where he's got it extruding out. So you've almost got something this thick coming out, so almost like filament size. So 3 millimeter is what this would be, and he wraps an object around in it, and he makes things out of it, and he sells them.
Have you seen that video of the guy that, like, he's got the little store and he sets it up, like he's got this little countertop and it says, plastics recycled here or whatever. So people bring in their plastics and stuff, and then he sorts them, and then the next day he wakes up in the morning and he takes all these plastics and he makes like toys out of them. So he has like these big giant presses and he puts a whole bunch of bottle caps and stuff in them and he presses them all together, and out comes this like plastic top. And then so like one day he collects recycled plastics, and then the next day he makes them into like toys and sells them, and that's like his little business.
Yeah. So it's
hi, Aaron's coworker.
So same thing, just do that and you can recycle. So take pop bottles and all that, and so you want to look at your numbers on your plastics, which you can get online. You can just look at the different type of plastics and what numbers they are, and once you get that done, you just kind of collect them up, clean them, get the sticky adhesive off of them. You can grind them up in a blender. There's multiple different ways to do it. And once you get them all done, you can just heat them up and make things. I've seen a kid that takes the plastic caps from milk jugs and then gets them melted and kind of folds them and makes this kind of marble pattern and makes slingshots out of them.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
I've seen that. Yeah, he melts them all together, and then he makes all kinds of. He makes them into just like flat boards, and then he cuts them out with like a bandsaw or whatever. He makes all kinds of stuff with them. I've seen that.
Yep. But
I wish I had the patience and the, wherewithal to do stuff like that.
I've actually done that with, well, not a slingshot, but I've actually done that to where I've melted down milk jugs, and I fixed my friend's kayak, who had a big crack in it where the seat goes, and it just would let water in. So what I did was,
you hate to have crack in your kayak.
I took some wire mesh pretty much from the store, and I heated it up and I actually melted it into the plastic of the kayak to make it rigid. and then I took the other plastic and I melted that into it as well to get it to kind of join in. But what I've seen people do is they've taken the virgin PLA, is what it's called. So it's virgin PLA.
He's like, that's what it's called. It's not dirty, guys.
I was just waiting for Brian's rebuttal from it.
No, I think Brian's frozen up, so his otherwise I think we'd hear some giggling going on. StreamYard has been on one today. StreamYard kicked Aaron twice. It just about kicked Brian.
A minute or so.
If I could have understood what you said, I'm sure it was funny. But your voice is real robotic right now, man.
Really robotic. So they take the virgin PLA and your pellet. You
Wholeheartedly agree.
Your ground up recycled filament, and you mix them both together, and you get a better quality compared to just using the recycled filament. So you want to mix them both together to get a better quality out of it. And it works. I obviously haven't done it because I don't have the stuff to do it. But
I don't know if you heard, Aaron. I mean, 10 years, man. We just talked about this. Hey, there
First
it is.
rule of Green Club: don't talk. What is?
Oh man, I thought for sure we were going to get that whole line out.
StreamYard is not happy.
StreamYard's not happy with you, Brian. I'm sorry. I don't know what you did. You need. Where's your blood
StreamYard is
sacrifice?
not happy.
You need to make a blood sacrifice to appease the StreamYard gods, I suppose.
it's his cat.
I don't like cats, so I wouldn't bother.
They're like ripped
Don't do it on the stream.
out of.
No, it's taking turns
That's
on
a lot of heart.
because towards the beginning of the stream, Chris was all robotic-y to me. So I was just like, I have no idea what he said.
It's because I'm a robotics teacher, Aaron. All
I
right.
am a robotics teacher, and therefore I have a robotic voice.
Exactly. You are what you eat. You know? I'm sure that applies somehow. But you know what? It's been over an hour. I think that we're about coming up on time to end the show. Just want to, one more time, thank everybody so much for joining us. If you joined us, thank you very, very much. If you're watching the stream later.
Is ending it.
I love you, Brian, but I can't understand anything you're saying. If you get the opportunity, make sure that you please follow this guy right here, Bryan Vines. He does some really cool, amazing projects. Aaron, one of my best friends, absolutely. All of our social media links are in the video description. Next week, we'll be on Aaron's channel. Hopefully, we'll get Brian back in a time where he's not looking like he's trying to grab little children.
It's like a weeping angel. When you look at him, they freeze.
That's it. That's it. Brian, you are an angel. A weeping angel. Yes. Indeed. So thank you guys so much for joining us. If you made it this far in the stream, thank you so much. Leave us a like. Leave a comment down below what your favorite segments are. And don't forget to tag your cool stuff that you find with the hashtag #A_C show so that we can have it featured on next week's show. I appreciate everything, all the love and support. Thank you guys so much. Brian, you want to try one more time for an outro?
There's his outro. get any better than that, right?
Oh my gosh! Seriously, the best moment of the show. That was so good. Oh my gosh!
Bloop.
Would you like to try one more time for the outro, Brian? I wasn't sure if that was a screw you or if that was just StreamYard kicking him out, but that's funny.
So
we'll have to hit him up later, make sure that everything's all right. But
so thank you everybody for joining us. We'll catch you next week on my channel, and I will have a contest for all of you guys. It involves this hat.
I don't know what that means, but okay.
And my cricket.
Ooh, lucky cricket.
I shall call it Jiminy.
Jiminy cricket and strangely bland hat. Put those together. Make it a good, whatever it is.
If you guys don't know what I'm talking about my Cricut Air, so my Cricut cutter, and this hat. So there's going to be a contest next week. And so stay tuned. Chris and I will kind of decide on what to do for that, and we will post it. So stay tuned. Join us next week. And until then, everybody, happy making. Take care. And don't forget to spay and neuter your animals.
Hey, Brian, you want to try one more time for an outro?
I can try.
That was perfect. He was like, Brian, do you want to try for an outro? Bloop.
Yeah, it just died.
It was
like I got the spinny circles for you and me and Chris. And
it was perfect,
anyway,
Brian. It was just
perfect. I was like, you want to try one more time for an outro? And then all of a sudden you just like left. And so
StreamYard noped out on me.
Honestly, I just thought that I was like, hey, you want to try one more time for an outro? And you were like, screw you guys. You just left.
No, I thought I was like, here's my outro. Boop.
Yeah, it almost sounded like something you would do on purpose just for fun.
No, I was waiting, but it was not cooperating.
Yeah,
I suck at outros, so I'll just say hi, I'm Brian, or bye, I'm Brian. You can find me on Twitter at Brian_Vines. You can find me on YouTube at the BD3D channel. I make YouTube videos about 3D printing, and I make dad jokes. That's me.
Link in the description below.
He's pretty awesome. Yeah. He's pretty awesome.
He's pretty tired.
We're all tired, man. We all got problems, Brian.
Sorry.
So, well, thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you guys next week.